Okay, so I thought I'd let you know the sort of things that I've learned over the past 15 years of tinkering with boats, and these are my favourite things that I've found have helped get jobs done in a sort of DIY sort of sense. I don't really spend lots of money on tools, but certain things I would spend money on. So let's just run through. Forgetting, obviously, dealing with steel boats, there's rust and things to deal with, and when it comes to rust, you've really got to get down to the bare metal, otherwise the problem's just going to come back. And the thing that I found that works the best without having expensive tools is this thing called a turco, and it's titanium tipped rubber thing that you just put on a drill, and it just knocks off the rust to get down to the bare metal. Really handy. It's good for getting flaky paint off as well, and it creates a hell of a lot less dust than using an angle grinder with a flap wheel or a wire brush. Much better. It's about £80. Sounds expensive, but it lasts. Well, I've done the whole roof of the boat getting off rust and things, so yeah, I would definitely invest one. The drill is just a 15 quid drill from Lidl. The next thing is an angle grinder. This one's just a low wattage, so I can run it off the inverter. It's 650 watt. 20 quid. It's lasted ages. A decent mask, because when you're dealing with dust, it's just, there's so much of it. Just get a decent mask. Spend 20 quid on a mask. The next thing that I invest in is, in order to get a good smooth finish, my roof's not amazing, but lots of the other paintwork is pretty good, and the only way to do that is spend lots of time on prep and a good or reasonably good sander and discs to get down to a nice smooth finish, to then put decent paint on the top. That's the next thing I spend money on, is decent paint, because it goes on much smoother, and this Craftmaster stuff, Coach Enamel, is amazing. It goes on so well. So spend the money on the paint. But on top of that, when you get the prep, you have to spend lots of time in prep, and then your finish is going to be good. But also buy a decent brush, because if you don't buy a decent brush, the smooth paint just doesn't go on. You get loads of streaky lines from a shit brush. The best brushes that you can buy are Purdy's. They're readily available from most decorating stores. They range from between like a tenner and 20 quid. You can get sets of 3 for about 25 quid. They're amazing. The problem is that, because painting takes a long time, is that you're constantly cleaning the brushes. And the way to avoid that was using horrible thinners and brush cleaner, is to buy a box. And what you do is you put one of these sachets in the box. It's sort of relatively airtight, and what it does is it just keeps the brush moist, so you don't have to clean it. You just wipe it down, stick it in the box, and it will last ages with one of these sachets in, and that just saves you loads of money, so you don't have to buy lots of white spirit or paint cleaner. Most amazing thing. The next thing I use a lot is latex gloves, because you're constantly getting dirty with the boat and paint, and it's just messy, so you just throw these away, and it keeps your hands pretty good, especially if you've got a regular job. The next thing that I use a lot, or when working on the roof, especially for like these mushrooms, is this decent sealant. If you use silicone, it dries out, goes hard, and then doesn't maintain its water repellency for long term. So you use something that doesn't quite set, and this stuff is called Sikaflex 221, and it's specifically made for on top of motorhomes and caravans and things like that, and it works amazingly well. So whenever we take off vents or anything like that, you put this stuff on. It doesn't ever quite set, and it isn't affected by the heat of the sun and things like that. The other thing that I use a lot for woodwork interior is Osmo, which is a sort of oil-based, natural oils stuff, and this one happens to be the clear one. You can get coloured stains and things which can work quite nicely on pine. It doesn't stink as bad as the really chemically stuff. I like it loads, but the only downside of it is that you have to put multiple thin layers, because it seeps into the wood rather than sits on the top, and if you put like up to 5 layers, then you'll get quite a good water repellency on pine. It works quite well on other woods as well. I love it. So yeah, and that is about it.